Hey everyone, welcome to Generation 19. Congratulations all of you for reaching this point. I'm very excited to meet each and every one of you. I've read all about your projects and can't wait for you to arrive the 5th of February. Okay, so for this webinar, we basically want to go through questions you might have at this point of your landing process. But before that, I must introduce myself. My name is Paula Enei. I'm your community builder for Startup Chile. I'm the person that you need to reach out to right now with any questions you have through the admissions mail. And once you arrive and start the program, I'm the person you need to reach out to for whatever you need. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do today is show you your co-work space. So this would be a coworker waiting for Gert, who's the office manager, who is not here right now, but it doesn't matter. I can give you the tour myself. So the first thing you need to know about the cowork is that you need an access card. Nobody without an access card can have an internet user, which means on the next step you will receive, there will be a form where you can put all your information in and we can make a previous registration. And when you arrive, we can get you an internet user and also an access card for you to do the following. Magic. Hola, Dave. Okay, so
I'm David.
This is David. You should meet him right away. He's part of the sub-staff, and Clarissa, a girl from TSF6.
We're waiting for you guys. Hurry up and come.
Yes, 5th of February, please. No one missed that deadline. Okay, so basically in Startup Chile, we have two cohorts. This is the Monjitas cohort. This is the main cohort where all social events, workshops, sub-academies, and different important things happen. So it's a bigger cowork and it's very good for networking and for meeting with people. It's the social cowork that we call it. Your other cowork would be Pérez Valenzuela in Providencia. That is a smaller cowork, but both of them are open to anyone who wants to use it from your team. So let me show you around a bit. This is a quieter space because it's a working space, but basically you can use any of these tables here or those tables there. We have a wonderful terrace as well, where we do sup lunches, for example. Okay, so now we're gonna go a bit quicker and meet Konrad for any questions you might have at this point. There we have Pod, one of our projects from TSF6. Hola.
Hola, hola, hola.
Okay. How's the audio for the video, guys? Can you hear properly? Okay, so the last person I want you to meet is Almendra. Almendra, you can come here. Hi, guys. Almendra is our communications executive, and Konrad is your operations director. And I am here to answer any questions you might have about visas. And Konrad is here to ask any questions you might have on expenses mainly at this point. Okay, so Almendra, do you know if we have any questions?
Yes, let me see. Juan Marcos wants to know the main subjects about incorporating their spa company in Chile. Could it be 100% owned by them, Delaware Holding, or it wouldn't case troubles in the expense reports?
It's about their SPA. Okay, let's go with Ana Maria's question for now.
Juan Marcos, we are not lawyers. I'm not a lawyer, so you should go and talk about this specific topic with a lawyer. Okay, I'm not a lawyer, so I cannot answer that question. Okay, and actually it has no impact whatsoever on the program itself. So it would have an impact in your actual company, okay, in the plans, but not for the program's sake. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that for now in terms of the program. Okay.
Thank you very much. Ana Maria wants to know if they, from this moment on, can start booking plane tickets or rent an apartment, or if they have to wait until they get their Chilean visa.
Okay, so I'll start with the visa question. Most of you have already received your invitation letter. Some of you haven't, but will receive it between today and tomorrow, which means are filling in the form, the SAT form, the ministry form, in order to make an appointment with your consulate. In case you didn't see the message that was above in the live chat, if you are required to give information, contact information for someone in Chile. If you don't know anybody in Chile, you can give my details, which I posted before the webinar began in this chat, or else, and I will post it once again when it ends, okay? So once you have your visa, which should be for like 3 weeks from now at most, Konrad can answer the questions on plane tickets.
Plane tickets, buy them right now. No, you can use allocate expenses from the step 2 email that Paula sent last Friday.
Yes.
So that's when you can start, you were able to start allocating expenses for the visa, for the plane tickets, for any travel insurance that you want to get, and that's it, nothing else. Okay, that's what you have approved until now. For any other expenses, you have to wait until you have information from your account executive to get their approval.
Great. A small note on that, you will be meeting your account executive next Wednesday, 27th. Okay, so any further questions on expenses, you will have to wait to make it to the questions to them. Okay. Are there any other questions, Almendra?
Yeah, we have a question about perks. I don't know if you can answer them. Yes?
Okay, depends on the question.
Mark wants to know when they can start using the perks and how should they do it.
Okay, so definitely once you officially start your program with Startup Chile, and how you can do it will vary from perk to perk, but don't worry about that right now. You can go through those details once you start your program with Francesca. So Konrad, I have a question for you. Is there any difference between travel insurance and health insurance, and what is our politics on that?
So yeah, basically health insurance is insurance that you get in your own country or in the country that you live in to get insurance for any medical necessities you have, right? Travel insurance is insurance that you have when you travel abroad, where you go to different countries where you don't have an insurance, okay, which is like an international insurance that covers any expenses that you have in another country. So we advise you to get travel insurance when you get the plane tickets to come to Chile, if anything happens the first couple of weeks, okay, or to get a travel insurance for the whole stay that you're going to have in Chile. So if anything happens and you have to go to a private clinic, then you can reimburse that with your insurance with their company. Okay, we advise you to get that, but it's not mandatory at all. Okay, you don't need that for the visa, not for coming to Chile, not for the program. Okay, but we advise you to do it because obviously when we have 100 people, 200 people coming, okay, in a couple of months, we advise all of them to get travel insurance because shit happens.
And definitely Chile is an expensive country for health in comparison with other countries. Do we have any further questions, Almendra?
Yes, Fabiola wants to know something more related to the cohort, and she asks if they hire an employee, if that employee has the same rights as the other team members to come to work at the cohort.
Okay, yes. Thanks, Fabiola, for your question. The contract you guys signed with us, we promise you a space for the team leader and the team members at the cohort. However, we love our subbers and we want you guys to be able to bring all of your team to the cohort. So as long as the cohort isn't full and there's space for all team leaders and team members, you can bring your employees.
Awesome. Matthews wants to know that in regards to the beneficiary, if it's possible to name a team leader that is one of the founders and will be in Chile representing the company too.
Okay, I think you already have your team leader and your beneficiary, and you cannot change that person by no means. If I answered your question correctly.
And regarding the visas, Alejandro wants to know that if they are currently in process of getting their temporary visa in Chile, if being part of Startup Chile allows them to accelerate this process.
Yes, definitely. That's what we've been doing for you from the admissions mail. So usually it would take a long time to get a temporary residence visa here in Chile, but with us, your consulate of choice has already probably heard from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and you should be with your visa and your passport a month from now at most.
Thank you very much. Konrad? Martu wants to know what's the difference between the accommodations reimbursement versus salaries, if they need to be incorporated in Chile to choose to allocate funds for salaries.
Yeah, according to what you have in the terms and conditions, in order to reimburse or use part of the money for salaries for the founders, for the founding team, which is on the specified on the application, then you need to incorporate in Chile. Okay, if you haven't already, if you applied as a natural person, then you need to incorporate here in Chile. If you haven't, and then you have to use the company, okay, to allocate those expenses, the expenses for employees of the founders through that company. Okay, that's the only way to allocate expenses for the founding team, for the salaries. Okay, if you apply as a natural person and you don't incorporate in Chile, you'll not be able to allocate expenses for salary for the founding team, which is on the application. Okay, if you have other founders coming, okay, which are not in the specified in the application, then you can pay these people as contractors. Okay, you don't have to get them employed. Okay.
Yeah. Also regarding expenses, Danish wants to know that if before coming to Chile, if he has to meet other team members from other countries, if that flight is covered.
The only flights that are covered, any travel expenses that are covered are only travel expenses for the founding team specified on the application. No one else. No other team members or founding members or family members or any others. Okay?
Okay.
Only the founding team on the application.
And for Paula, regarding visas, Elementrica asks that if Startup Chile helps with the paperwork regarding significant others, meaning not members of the team, and if we give them an invitation letter so that they can also work at Chile.
Okay, so the deadline to fill in the form for visa applications, which we could help you with, which is team leader, team members, and significant others with family, was the 15th of December. So from now on, we cannot help you until you arrive in Chile and you go over the reason why you need to have more visas for your either employees or significant others with your account executive. If the account executive approves of that need, we can assist you with that. Regarding the invitation letter, it is written only for the beneficiary, in the name of the beneficiary of the project, of the subsidy, but it extends to other team members and significant others with a governmental annex that you will receive as soon as you receive the invitation letter, which if you haven't already, you will receive it probably today, maybe tomorrow.
Awesome. Matthias wants to know since when they can come to sign the contract with Startup Chile, and where would it be, and is there any timetable for it?
That was definitely for Konrad.
Yeah, can you repeat that? Sorry.
Matthias wants to know since when they can come and sign the contract with Startup Chile, and where would it be, and if there's any timetable for it?
No, the only day that you have to consider right now is the 5th of February. That's it. You have to be here that day, and during that week you'll start all the paperwork. Okay, so until now, don't worry. You'll have more specific dates in the coming weeks when Paula will share with you through the site the calendars for the first week and so on. So don't worry from that.
Very good. And now another visa question. They want to know that for the visa application in India, The question for contact in Chile has a section about relationship and possible options are invites, invited, business, professional. So what do we suggest or recommend?
Business.
Business, business.
Quick answer. So quick question. So talking about what Konrad was saying a bit, on your first week, we call it the orientation week, okay? So until now, you have your calendar, which I sent through the admissions mail. You have your Suppers online site, and you have your calendar, right? And you have everything, you have all the agenda until the 5th of February. In the upcoming weeks, we will put the rest of the agenda for the first week and the first activities you guys will participate in, okay? But the first week is a landing week, so it's a week full of information regarding your participation in the program, and it's also a week where we register your visa with police, where we get a route number, which is your ID card in Chile, and we help you open a bank account here, okay? So please keep in mind that for that first week, you will be, a lot of your time will have to be allocated to Startup Chile processes, okay?
Konrad, getting back to insurance, they said that if they got your advice correctly, you tell them to get travel insurance for the first couple of weeks, and they ask if they can get normal health insurance in Chile from a local provider.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, the advice I give you is to get travel insurance. You get normally when you pay for travel insurance is for a few months. Okay, so I think that's better to buy that for 6 months. Okay, it's cheaper than paying healthcare here in Chile. To pay for a normal plan here, it's not insurance here. It's called ISAPRES here in Chile. It's a different system. Okay, but it's expensive. So I don't advise you to do it. What you can do is to get travel insurance for the first few months, and then here in Chile, see what the prices are for that, and maybe you can pay for a insurance for any accidents that you can have. Just that with like a private clinic, and well, put that in the table and decide. And that's your decision. I don't have the prices, so I cannot help you with that. Okay, but what I advise you to do is to get travel insurance for at least a few months, so you have a few months covered. Okay, and you can always extend that travel insurance. So get it. Okay.
But they have access to local health insurance.
Yes.
Yes.
Anyone with a root can get health insurance here.
Very good. And getting back to expenses, they want to know if it's possible to use the money to pay the developers that are located abroad Chile.
Is it possible to what, sorry?
To pay the developers that are located abroad Chile.
Yeah, you're able to use the money to allocate it for outsourcing services. So when you pay for outsourcing services out of Chile and you move money from Chile or any other country, if you move money from one country to another, normally you have to pay taxes, okay? In the country where you're sending out the money, okay? In Chile, the tax for paying outsourcing outside of Chile goes from 15 to 35% tax, okay? So consider that into your budget. Yeah.
Very good. This is for Paula. It says, Pia wants to know that she's a Chilean and she has planned a trip for 3 weeks in March, if there is any problem with this.
Okay, so there are certain mandatory activities which you will come to know when you receive your playbook. So that's further on down the landing process. For now, the mandatory week you must be here is from the 5th of February, Monday, 5th of February to that Friday, okay? We do expect founders to be very committed with their startups. We did select you guys because we think you're high potential startups and entrepreneurs. So 3 months off, or 3 weeks off, sorry, well, we expect you to be here. So, but for now, I can't say if there's any mandatory activity in the first 3 weeks of March or not.
And also for you, Astrid wants to know that she's coming on March, it's on February,
Okay.
and her colleague that is also a founder is coming on May. They stated this under the documentation, and her partner is coming with her significant other. So she wants to know if there is any issue with their visa paperwork.
If you already applied all of those people in the visa application in this form, then there should be no problem. The important thing is, as soon as your visa is approved, that all of you stamp your visas on your passport. So if you take over 3 months to do that process, your visa application expires, and there's nothing we can do to help you with that.
They have a few days to use the visa to get here.
A month.
Month.
Yeah. So once you stamp your visa on your passport, you have to.
1 month to come here. If you wait more than a month to come here after you get the visa.
Yes.
Okay, this is for you, Konrad. It says that regarding to the salary and the budget to pay the place to live, does this mean as soon as we incorporate the company in Chile, the company could allocate these expenses to pay the founder?
I'll read the question myself better because regarding to the salary and the budget to pay the place to live, to housing costs, it means as soon as we incorporate the company in Chile, the company could allocate expenses to pay the founder. You can say so. Obviously, you have to turn in documentation to show that you have a company. And also, if you incorporate in Chile and you want to allocate expenses from that Chilean company for the program, you have to follow the instructions on the terms and conditions, okay? Because we have to approve the company, okay? It needs to go through a legal department so we can corroborate all the requirements from the company that are stated on the terms and conditions. Okay, so review terms and conditions, review these requirements. If those requirements are met and we approve it, you can allocate any expenses related to the project for the program.
In addition to that question, Luis wants to know that if we can use another part of the budget to pay the place to live. Is this correct, or we only need to choose one of these options?
You need to choose one. If you go to terms and conditions, it specifies that you can only use housing, okay, while you're not paying salary to any of the founders. Okay, so that's it's made like that because the first maybe first few months you will be working on the incorporation of the company, okay, because you can get the company done in 1 week, but when you want to incorporate with a serious business here in Chile, that will take at least a few weeks, okay, a month, okay, so you can get a company that can do stuff. So once you get that done, then you can allocate expenses for salaries, which is more money than what you have for housing. So you normally what the founders do, they allocate expenses to housing, okay, the first few months, and when they incorporate, get the approval from us for the company, then they start allocating expenses to the salaries of the founders and stop allocating expenses to the housing costs.
Very good. Federico has a very important question, and he says he wants to know how much money they should have in order to finance them until they can be reimbursed. How much money should they bring?
Well, that depends on you. If you have a very elegant lifestyle, then you need more money. But we all recommend that you bring money at least for 2 months, okay, to survive for 2 months at least. You're not going to use all that money, I'm sure, but in very specific cases that can happen, okay, because many things can happen, okay, in 2 months. And for the paperwork, for your visa, and the plane tickets coming to Chile, whatever. Okay, so plan ahead to have a runway for at least 2 months survival money. Okay, it depends how much you spend on a month. Okay, you can get more information of how much is a place here in Santiago and how much is food. You can get all that in Google.
Very good. They also want to know if all the expenses should be on their personal credit cards or if they can use their corporate cards.
No corporate cards. Remember that these, when you apply to the program, you apply either as a natural person, okay, that's the beneficiary, or as a Chilean company. If you're a Chilean company, you're in Chile, basically, you can use, obviously, all the bank accounts from the company, okay, and the credit cards and everything. If you apply as a natural person, that natural person is the beneficiary, not another company in other countries. So you cannot use that bank account, okay, for that for those expenses, okay, because there's no way we can understand how that company works because it's not a Chilean company, okay. So you need to use your personal bank accounts, not your parents' bank accounts, not your grandmother's credit card, okay. Please use your own credit cards. If you don't have the money, you need a parent or a friend of you to lend you the money, then ask them to lend you the money and use your own credit card. Okay, don't use the credit card from your friend or your family member. Use your own credit card, okay?
Very good. They also want to know if the travel insurance is a reimbursable expense by Startup Chile.
Yes, obviously, yeah.
That's
Travel
good
insurance.
news.
Yeah, travel insurance, yeah.
Okay, let's continue. Wait. Yeah, if they need to formal contract us to receive a salary, this contract also applies to Chilean taxes, that is right? Or do we have some benefits regarding salary taxes?
Sorry, give me a minute
It's the
to
first
read again.
question.
If we need to follow.
It looks like a complicated question, apparently.
Do we have some? Obviously, anyone here in Chile needs to pay taxes. You know that everyone needs to pay income tax. So if you have a contract with a company, you have to pay income tax for that contract. Yes, as anyone else in any other country.
Very good. This is for Paula about visas. They say they want, Orlando wants to know if they can request another visa in January for another founder that was not originally in the application.
If you went over the need for that visa with your account executive and that is approved, yes, but we cannot assure you that it will be as agile as your visa process. It might take a bit longer.
Okay. Vivek wants to know that the name and last name for their team was reversed in the invitation letter annex. They want to know if they will receive a revised invitation letter annex.
Yeah, no problem. You will receive that.
Okay, Matthias wants to know, Konrad, back to his question, and he was told during the last interview that he could sign the contract as soon as possible. So he wants to know I would have the funds available sooner. This doesn't apply then?
No, you have to wait until February to sign a contract. Yeah, as everyone else. That's where we will be.
We start the process.
Starting the process, yes.
As soon as possible from February 5th on, basically.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes.
Fabiola wants to know when does the program end? In September or in October?
Neither. Do you want to answer that?
Yeah, so Fabiola, you know that we have obviously the program is acceleration program. So you have mandatory activities, you have pitch day, you have platoons, you have many acceleration activities, follow-up activities, and that will end in August, right? But on the other side, you'll sign a contract with us, okay? That contract can go from 7 to 9 months, okay? So when you've signed a contract, it means that you will have that period of time to spend the money that we're going to give, okay? Because we don't want you to use the money quickly than you need it, okay? So you have 7 or 9 months to spend the money. So if you have signed a contract for 9 months, then we hope that you'll stay 9 months. That's what the contract you will have. Okay, but you'll discuss that more extensively with your academic executives in the coming weeks. Okay, and they'll let you know about those specific questions. If you're talking about having that day to buying the plane ticket, I will advise you to get a return ticket for around the end of September. Yeah, because that will be like the around date for that. If you have to go sooner and your contract expires sooner, then you can go. There's no problem. If you already checked everything and you follow all our instructions for the contract, and yeah, that will be okay.
Very good. Paula Danish wants to know that he says that he receives the visa on the 27th. So if he has to be in Chile within 30 or 90 days.
Okay, so you'll be receiving your visa on the 27th. No, you can travel within 3 months.
Yeah.
So you have to be here the 5th of February, and the timings are planned out for you to be able to be here by then. Okay? You can arrive earlier as soon as you have your visa as well, but we expect you to be here on the 5th of February. Give us 1 second. There we go.
Okay. And continuing with the visa questions, Astrid wants to know if it's possible to apply for the visa for her colleague and her significant other on a later stage, as they only have come to Chile in May. So if they apply now, that process will be lost.
Okay, Astrid, if you put them in the form, as I said before, all those visas have already been requested. Okay, so there's no turning back from that. But don't worry, maybe you can write a particular mail to the admissions email to know the exact details of these applications, and we'll guide you through the process.
Perfect. Konrad, this question is for you. How long does it take usually to have the first part of the grant for us to plan the actions?
To get the first part of the grant for us to plan the actions. The first installment takes from normally it takes from 5 to 6 weeks after you get here to Chile. So it should be during the first 2 weeks of March. Okay, that's what normally happens. Okay.
Okay. Paula, this relates with the answers before, but I will ask the question again. Is it okay that they get the visa for the founder as well as team members now in December, January, but the founder comes to Chile on February 5th, but the team members joins only after 1 or 2 months?
Yes, no problem.
Very good. Ana Maria wants to know if they can hire a couple of contractors in Chile to do animation and voiceovers. Can Startup Chile help us with the recruitment of employees? Are there any restrictions on hiring?
Okay, so on recruitment, we have our community, which is very active, and they can help you out and guide you through who they've worked with, which portals they've worked with. We can also advise you on portals. We do not directly help you to recruit. And if there are any restrictions, Konrad can answer you better on that. Restrictions on hiring.
No restrictions for now, but you have to talk about those with your account executive when you meet them. So you have to wait until that. If those are contractors or employees that are going to work for the project, it shouldn't be a problem. Okay, the only problem is are they capable of doing the work that they're supposed to do. That's it.
Okay. Federico has a question that has to do more with community. He wants to know if we can provide him with a list of the contacts of Argentina in order to create a WhatsApp group so that they can share the accommodations.
Okay, sorry we can't. We can't share any information of the other structures to you, but as you could see in the last email that we sent out, we are asking you guys, whoever is interested in being part of a WhatsApp group, to fill in their information, and we'll create that group for you. But you must wait until maybe 3 weeks from now until all of the visas are issued.
Very good. Konrad, this continues with the credit card questions. They want to know if the credit card can be used by anyone from the team or just the beneficiary.
No, anyone, a beneficiary or the team members. Okay, that's described on the terms and conditions. Okay, but anyone that is included on the application. Okay, if you have any questions and any doubts about who of your team members were included in the application, please ask Paula.
Yes.
Okay? Because we had many times when people thought they added someone else to the team in the application and they didn't, so they start spending money with that credit card person and it's a mess. Okay, so if you're not sure, then ask Paula and she'll let you know.
Okay, this is a very similar question, and they say that for buying a team member's plane ticket, do we need to use beneficiaries account or team members' personal accounts?
If you, what we advise to do is that try to use only one credit card or only one bank account for everything related to the project. Okay, if you're building a company, you should be organized and you should be using only one credit card or only one bank account, not many bank accounts. Okay, because that's going to be a mess for you guys, for tracking what you're spending money on, and for us. And at the end of it, for you, because if you have more paperwork, it's more difficult for us to understand it. You'll get the money later than sooner. Okay.
Okay. Can I just add one?
Yes.
Not add one thing, make a small interruption. So we're about 10 to 15 minutes away from ending this webinar. So any essential questions you have that haven't been made before, this is the moment to write them down.
Yes, very good. We're going to continue with some smaller questions. Diego wants to know that he has a team of 3 founders. If the budget approved for housing is for 3 or just a single rent for all of the team?
Yeah, it's a flat rate, budget for the whole team. Yeah.
Okay. Adriel wants to know how much risk is there that any expense will be rejected that is made on January?
Well, that depends on your account executive. Okay, if you make any expenses other than the plane tickets, visa expenses, travel insurance, that's on your own risk. Okay, that's why you need, for those expenses and any other expenses, you need the approval from your account executive all the time.
Very good. Astrid wants to know, I know that we answered already this question, but still, if they hire a Chilean student in Chile to support us with the marketing strategy, can this person's salary be used from the grants?
Again, account executive, you're going to have to worry about these things later down the line.
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
But you can pay for interns and for employees. So.
And she wants to know if, so until February the 5th, I should not hire a contractor and incur any expenses related to that.
No, I don't recommend you to do it. Okay, it's your decision, but it's going to be our decision to approve it or not.
Very good.
Okay.
And the last question we have until now is Adriel, and he wants to know if they can pay services by cash.
Yes, but we don't recommend it to do it because it's very difficult to keep track of cash. Okay, and it's very difficult to actually understand why you pay someone in cash, other than going and buying some pencils and coffee. But any other things, you should use you should use wire transfers, your debit card, your credit card. Okay.
Very good.
So avoid using cash or checks. Avoid that. Okay, that's from the 19th century. Now we use debit cards.
Thumbs up for debit card or credit card.
Yeah.
Matthews wants to know what's the financial model to justify the invoices expenses to be approved by Corfu? If we have a financial model to justify the invoices expenses to be approved by Corfu?
I don't know what you mean with financial model, but if you mean like what's the standard for the invoices, well, the invoices or bills have to go along the tax laws of the country where they were issued from. So yeah, so if you have an invoice from a US company, that invoice should match the standards of the tax law of the US. If you have an invoice from France, then it should match the legal tax law of France, and so on. Okay?
Okay. Now we have another tax question. It says, what are the obligations locally for B2B software providers regarding taxes information?
I don't know. I'm not an accountant. I'm not that. I don't have the specific information. So you should ask a lawyer or an accountant here in Chile.
I think Jay Chan has a good question.
Yeah. Can you wait?
De arriba, aquí.
Okay. Yes, he has a very good question. That says, can you elaborate, so if we could give some more information about the part that says participant must contribute at least the remaining 10% in cash during the project execution?
Yes. Yeah, you have to show us that you're investing at least 10% from your own pocket in the company. Okay? So we're putting 20 million pesos. So you have to show expenses for other 2.2 million pesos. Okay? To cover the project. Okay? If you put less money, then we will put less money. And we have to follow that same criteria of 90% from our side and 10% from your side.
Right.
So with every installment that we give you, we expect you to match that payment with expenses for the payment plus these 10%.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Richard has our last question that says he wants to clear up some information. He wants to know if the founders receive a salary if they cannot allocate money for housing.
You're right. If you allocate expenses to salaries for the founders, then you cannot allocate money for housing. You're right.
I don't know if we have any questions left.
I don't think we have any questions left, but I would like to wrap up the webinar. That's good for you. Okay, so thank you all for all your great questions. We understand that the landing process can be a bit confusing, reason for which we wanted to make this webinar for you. Any further questions you have, just write them to the admissions email and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. So there's one thing I wanted to be very clear with you from the beginning. At Startup Chile, we have two ways of communicating with you guys, okay? So you know all the activities you have. One is through the upcoming events, which is a weekly newsletter that goes out on Fridays with all activities and information that is important for you. And two, through the Suppers Online, which is a site that you've already been in contact with, okay? The other thing is that you guys, well, basically that you guys prepare, like the first week, the landing week, all the workshops we're gonna give you, that you go and that you make all the questions you have and you're very clear, especially with the financial process, which is the trickiest process of the program. So you can go to your meetings well prepared and it's just smooth and easy for all, okay? Other than that, I'm very excited. We are all very excited to meet you February 5th. This is just a part of the Startup Chile staff, but all the staff is looking forward to meeting you guys. We hope you have great travels and yeah, well, we're here for whatever you need. Do you have anything to add?
No, the same. Yeah. We're really excited to receive you and we're expecting to get you all here by February the 5th.
Okay. Ciao guys, take care.
Bye guys, take care.